Today we'll be reviewing Jane Yeh's second book, The Ninjas. You'll notice my copy is a little bit ratty. That's because I've been carrying it around in my bag for many days, which means either I like it or I find it puzzling. The book contains poems called variously The Robots, Decepticon Island, parts 1 to 3, Sherlock Holmes on the Trail of the Abominable Snowman, Pet Rescue, On Being an Android, and After the Attack of the Crystalline Entity, the latter being based on an episode of Star Trek. The titular ninjas even eat pizza, just like the turtles. So this review practically writes itself, or it would do if I were spectacularly lazy. I mean, Jane Yeh writes about pop culture, and in poetry, that automatically means she's, let's see if I can get the phrasing right, taking the detritus of modern civilization and fashioning beautiful artifacts from it. Like what poets do. Because all pop culture, of course, is entirely artless and requires the alchemical attentions of serious writers to make it worth anyone's time. Writing about pop culture also automatically means she's playful and witty and quirky. That word, unsurprisingly, found its way into the final sentence of the Guardian review of the book. And is there any better word for damning with faint praise, for conjuring the image of poet as second-rate court jester, doing a few jokes before the strapping middle-aged man's man poet turns up to drill our brains with his serious intellect? I suppose you could soften the blow by proceeding quirky with delightfully, but no one's ever going to say that about Geoffrey Hill or Prynne or Ted Hughes, are they? Even though all three assuredly register high on the quirkometer, and even though poets are really quirks to a man. And the thing is, The Ninjas is not quirky. It is playful and it is witty. It's also strange, colourful and rammed with small darknesses. But it's not quirky. Neither does it take the detritus of modern civilization and fashion beautiful artifacts from it, because the poems that do pop culture don't treat their subject matter like trash. They approach it with affection and guile and understanding. There's a particular kind of poem that Yeh repeats throughout the book. The title is usually the something, so the witches, the kittens, the robots, etc. And the lines generally follow a repetitious pattern. They do this, they like that, these things amuse them. It could so easily be boring, and sometimes the lines are either a little bland, or trying too hard, or they just hit a bum note. But, for the most part, what they do is joke around with stereotypes and familiar tropes, shifting them around and adding the odd surprising ingredient, so that we end up with half-cutesified, half-Stepford Wivesified versions of familiar mainstays. And the repetitiousness is, well, it's musical, it works, it claws its way in like the chorus of a song, which saves the book, in my mind, from accusations of being prosaic, since in parts it certainly does lean towards the rhythm of prose. I hope it's not spoiling anything to say that in the three excellent Decepticon Island poems, much goes awry, but no actual Decepticons appear. This is because Yeh knows how to keep an idea, or the suggestion of an idea, hanging around in the background, haunting the poem throughout. It's a little like not showing the monster in a horror film. It's scarier when some things are left to the imagination. And in general, she draws as much from the cookbook of mainstream mediums and internet memes as she does from poetry's own stash of recipes. Some of the phrasings might remind you of those demotivational posters you see passed around Facebook. So The Ninjas is a very accomplished book, one that seems light and fluffy at first. There are, after all, animal poems, but also contains glittering veins of darkness, loss and disconnection, fear and paranoia, all the good stuff. In fact, the book's kind of a ninja in itself, carrying concealed weaponry while disguising itself as a jolly drunk monk. I'd actually recommend it as something to try to lure people into poetry, since it touches on a lot of wider interests and doesn't look down its nose at them, and that's a shockingly rare thing. So, thumbs up.